What's up, my friends? Matt with BAAM Ranch. Good to have you here. So let's talk about the collapse of society when the world ends. SHTF, all these cool things, right? It's what YouTube and Facebook and the internet is all full of. What is it? What's it going to be? When's it coming? How am I going to protect myself? Where's my bunker? All of that stuff. I've got some news for you. It's already here. It's been here for a while. And it's not going away. It's not anything like what you expected. It's not driving across scorched earth sand dunes in a Humvee. It's not the zombies walking around, which you could say that, everybody, walking around, with their rectangle of death, that's pretty zombie-like. It's not exactly the way we expected it to happen, but stick with me for a minute and I'm going to explain to you why the collapse is already here. SHTF actual is happening like right now, and it's nothing like what we expected. Well, anyway, if you get any value from this, please do me a favor, subscribe. Hit the like button, dude. Come on, man. It helps. Help a dude out, right? Okay. Well, I encourage you to watch this to the end. We're going to go over a lot of stuff here and put it on fast forward, whatever you need to do to get through it, because there's going to be some good information in this one, I promise you. So think about it. The political divide we've got going on. I've never remembered a time whenever people on opposite sides of the aisle absolutely hated each other, right? I remember I would be talking to a liberal and that they would think, well, I've got good intentions, and this goes both ways. Republicans and Democrats are the same. Well, the other side, they're good people. They just have terrible ideas, right? Well, now they're terrible people, and they just have these ideas to make things even more terrible. The political divide is crazy, and I don't know what caused that. What was the main? Was it social media? Was it the campaign tactics? I don't know. But political divide. There's an actual physical weakening of the people, right? I know what I did growing up and what I was capable of doing growing up. I know what my grandfather did whenever he was growing up. A 25-year-old man who was born in the 30s or 40s is a completely different person than a 25-year-old man today, right? And I'm not saying I'm any better than any of them. I don't claim to be an expert at anything or the master of anything at all. But it is something that's true that we need to point out. Global currencies, not just the US dollar, but everywhere. The Chinese currency, the Vietnamese currency, all the Chinese currencies, the Ukraine and the ruble from Russia, and all of these things. It's not just one particular country that has their currency going down, but they all are. Every country right now is going through inflation like crazy. And so far, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. They brag about it when you get on the news. Well, inflation was 9%, but it's fallen to 5%. Well, what's 12 plus 5? That's 17% inflation. We didn't go back to normal anything. It's cumulative. And that's what's happening with all of the world's currencies. The global monetary system is just, it's falling, brings up alternatives like Bitcoin, things that, alternatives to that, gold, silver. We're not going to get into those in this video, but a lot of those things are looking pretty appetizing, right? What about the fact that we have already entered and are in full-blown 100% in the second Cold War, right? Cold War, threat of nuclear annihilation, round 2. We're there. We're there with Russia. We're there with China. We're there. Make no mistake, India completely has way more power and might than what Russia and China do. The thing is, they're not in disagreement with anybody right now. The United States, yeah. And we're pushing towards it, man. We're in it. We're in it right now. And it's just every single day we come this much closer and this much closer, a little bit closer to going from a Cold War to a hot war. You know, it's been said a lot lately that the deconfliction hotline between Russia and the United States almost doesn't get used anymore because it just people screaming back and forth at each other. It's an argument hotline, right? So that's something to think about. What caused us to be here, and ultimately, how do we fix it? Well, there's a lot of things that caused it, that caused it, right? And when did it happen? You know, and I think, I don't know, did it happen with the 2008 Great Recession? I don't know. Did it start with 9/11? I think it was a contributing factor. The government exploded. Conservatives that were these small government conservatives. Boom, man. All of a sudden, we're just going to spy on everybody. We're going to do everything. We're going to spend a ton of money, and we're going to do all the stuff that the conservatives hate, and it's going to be okay. And if you don't like it, you're a terrorist, right? Well, that's what happened. You know, what about it? Did it go back further than that? What about the housing boom of the 90s? You know, I don't know. Some of you older guys, you know, I don't remember personally, actually remember much before the 90s. I'm only 38 years old. I'm a young guy. I don't know. When do y'all think it might have started? I think there's no mistake in anybody's mind that it was on a hyper velocity acceleration starting 2-3 years ago, right? We can all agree on that. If you watch this channel and you don't agree with that, I don't know. I'm not going to convince you any different at this point. You've already made up your mind. Hopefully somebody will bring you back around to realize of what's going on, you know. But anyway, everybody kind of, you know, places blame on this or that. And what I think the biggest factor of it was the fourth turning, right? You know, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Look at your grandfathers, right? You could make the argument that we're in the fourth turning right now. I think we are. The kids born now are not near as capable, near as strong. They're just not as capable of living life now as we used to be, right? And my kids are great kids. I love them to death. And they're good kids. And I like to tell myself that they're doing quite a bit more than what the average is. And I could be wrong. You know, I've got a bias, obviously. But I know that I don't put out near what my father, and absolutely nowhere close to what my grandfather did. And to hear him talk about what his father and his grandfather were doing, there's no doubt we're in the fourth turning, man. We can't even decide what gender we are. I say we, I'm well aware, you know. At 25 years old, they were everybody went to war, right? And they didn't go for a short rotation. They stayed until World War II was over, right? Now we're arguing about having surgery to cut our private parts off. I mean, come on. We're in a globe, not a nation, but the entire globe is of weaker men. And nobody did that on purpose. It's just the way it happened. The things that were setting forth, these wonderful times that the boomers created, they catch a lot of flack. But quit blaming them for what you haven't done in your life. It was a big realization whenever I started doing that myself. Whenever I started realizing that I've got a lot more control in my life than what I thought I did. And it wasn't the boomers' fault. And whenever I realized that, things started going right. You know, but look at what they created. You know, the 401k, pensions, Social Security, the three-legged stool that's supposed to keep us in good shape when we're no longer able to work. Pensions are completely gone. Social Security, it's not going to be there whenever I'm ready for it. 401ks, they're not near what they used to be, man. There's just no doubt. Does the three-legged stool even have a one full solid leg anymore? We're going to get into how to fix this in just a second, but I think it's important to understand where we're coming from, where we're at, and why we're here. You know, what about the good times that they created where all the adults in the house owned a vehicle? It went from that to now the teenagers have a vehicle. Now they've got four-wheelers and $30,000 side-by-sides, and every kid has this $1,000 triangle of death. You know, the smartphone. I'm talking to you on one right now, and you're actually staring back at me through a sideways smartphone. Right? It's just comfort, right? It's comfort. And all of that stuff was good. It was all wonderful, right? It used to be you stayed at a job for 30, 40 years and they were going to take care of you. It's not that way anymore, right? But anyway, all of that just kind of explain where we're going. How we got spoiled, but in a good way. It wasn't a bad thing. It's good that we got spoiled like that, and I'm thankful for it, right? But make no mistake, it's all going to fall. It's currently falling right now. SHTF doesn't look anything like what I expected, but it's happening. So what do we do about it? Well, we know when the system falls, it's going to be the system, right? What is the system? What's this umbrella term of all of the systems, the logistics, the food delivery, the healthcare system, the insurance system, the political system, the whatever system. You can, I'm not going to name off all 6,000 of them. You get the point, right? The social programs, the modern comforts that those systems are able to provide. Employment, the employment system, man. We're coming up on a time where a lot of jobs are just going to be not needed. Who was the last drafter that you knew? What are your chances of going and getting a degree in drafting? Maybe today they've kind of modernized it a little bit for the modern world. But someone that went in the 80s for drafting, they're out of a job, man. Nothing that they went to school for will ever apply to what they're doing now. So employment's changing with new technology, AI. That's a big talking point. So how do we take care of it? Well, we start out with our foundational principles, right? I've got a whole playlist on this. It's called the Fundamentals of Preparedness. Go check that out. Hey, leave me some love over there. Let me know what you think. But shelter, food, water, safety, security, transportation, financial stability. Without all of those, everything else falls down, right? If your shelter isn't worth a damn, you're not secure, and you're not, you know, if you can't afford to eat, you probably can't afford to you certainly don't have financial stability, right? So they're not pillars, they're not separate pieces, they're all foundation. Shelter, food, water, safety, security, transportation, and financial stability. We take care of those. So shelter, what do we do about that? Well, where's the problem? In my estimation, and in almost any person that considers themselves and other people consider them to be an expert, will tell you that, you know, these big metropolitan areas, the big gathering places of people, that's where things are going to turn bad. Jason Aldean right now has a song out, something about try that in a small town. Yeah, there's truth to that. And that was proven over the last 3 years. These big cities tend to fall apart much faster than the small towns. Out in the middle of nowhere, man, they might not even know what happened, right? Food and water. Do you have a way to get food and water if the status quo changes? And this happens all the time, man. Sometimes it's just the fact that a blizzard came through And for whatever reason, everybody in the world has French toast. Milk, eggs, and bread, all sold out. Can't find it anywhere. Maybe it's something like the pandemic. Maybe it's, that's my phone, not yours. Maybe it's something like the pandemic. All those empty grocery shelves, do you remember that? A lot of us have forgotten about it, right? So do you have enough supply to tide you by? And whenever your supply runs out, can you replenish it? Which leads us into production, right? If you do nothing other than grow three, 4 flower pots on your front porch, tomato, onion, garlic, peppers, and make the best damn salsa you've ever had in your life, you're doing more than almost everybody else in the country. And it gives you the option to store that up. What else can you make with that stuff? You can make marinara sauce. You can make all sorts of anything. You can make sloppy joes. If you're able to can that stuff and preserve it, make it a goal. Grow your own salsa and try to can so much of it that you don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy a single store-bought jar of that for the entire winter until your next batch starts coming in. Not that hard to do. You should try it sometime. Do the math. Figure out how much food you're going to need. Bear Independent channel has a really good breakdown on this. I encourage you to go look at him. I've got a little bit, I kind of brush over in the Prepper Fundamentals. Yeah, I want you to watch that video, but you could probably get some better information from Bear over at Bear Independent. What about the logistics of it, right? How do you cook it? How do you purify the water? How do you process the beef? How do you take your waste stream from your kitchen, all of the stuff that would normally go to the trash, it's considered trash in today's day and age, take this pile of trash, move it over here and give it to a chicken, and boom, from this pile of trash comes this beautiful egg. So think about the logistics of that. Not only the logistics of how you're going to be able to provide it for yourself, how you're going to store it, but how are you going to resupply it. The past 3 years have shown us that the logistics of the grocery store are shitty, right? We can all agree on that, absolutely. Transportation. This is easy, we're gonna go quick. Got your car, got your truck, I don't know, your feet Bergini, you got a good pair of boots. Is it reliable? Do you have the fuel to be able to fill it up? While we're on the subject of fuel, we can go back to shelter. You're gonna need like a generator or something, right? Do you have fuel for it? The same fuel that goes in your car will actually work for your generator. I don't know if everybody out there was aware of that, but that's how that works. Buy 12 gas cans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Label them all. Fill them up once a month, right? Now you're out each month, after the initial investment, you're out each month 5 gallons of fuel. That's not much money at all. And you've always got 60 gallons of fuel ready to go. And that'll get you through almost any situation that, you may get stuck in. While we're on transportation, did you pick your shelter 40 miles from the nearest town? There's something to think about. We're shopping for a house currently, right? And we're wanting to be within a reasonable drive of a place that's big enough to support a shopping mall. We can get all of our stuff done. We can go have a drink. My wife and I can go out for supper and have a drink and be home at a reasonable time. But separated far enough from that we've still got the freedom to do what we want. And if shit hits the fan in town, they're not going to walk all that way to come jack with me. It's not to say that, it's a ultimate safe thing, but that's what we're shopping for. Financial stability. How are you on that? I'm not where I want to be. I don't really know of anybody that is. Even the super elite billionaire oligarchs are still wanting more money, right? It's what makes this whole world work. Don't give me this bullshit about how whenever everything collapses, the money won't be any good. Have you not, this right here, this stuff I'm using right now, everything costs money. We're still living in a world that takes money. We don't have to wait till the world collapses to live good lives. So start with setting back an emergency fund, right? A couple grand. I think everybody used to say $1,000. It's not enough anymore. A couple $1,000. At minimum, you need to make a mortgage payment. I don't know what your mortgage payment is. If it's a $6,000 mortgage, well, freaking good on you for being able to afford that. You're doing something right. But you need to have at least that much set back, right? No less than $2,000. If you can only do $500, do it. Get something. Get a security net of some kind. Retirement. We're all going to get to an age at one point. If we do things right, we're going to live long enough that we can't work anymore. I don't want to work my ass off my entire life to die in poverty. Not going to say anything else about that. Income. We kind of already brushed on this. What can you do to get your income up? Entrepreneurship. Working overtime if entrepreneurship isn't for you. If you don't want to run a business, fine. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Overtime. Search for another job. Change positions. What can you do to get your income up? Because there is no circumstance when things go south that having a whole bunch of money is going to be a bad thing. Can we agree on that? My son's behind the camera. Austin, do you agree with that?
Yes.
He agrees too. The 13-year-old has spoken. And extra money, right? Sometimes people might want to repaint their kitchen just for no other reason than they want to change the color. Maybe I want to go buy an ice cream sandwich. It's 102. This garage is not exactly cool. I want to take my wife out to dinner and a movie, right? If we just stick to things we absolutely need, we'll be down to skivvies and food. I want to live a little better than that. I want to be able to go get me a Dr. Pepper whenever I want. So having some extra, because you got to enjoy life. Anyway, I guess that's all I've got. I've rambled on long enough in this video. Look at these notes, man. That's not even close to enough notes to be rambling on that long. Plenty of rabbit holes. But thank you guys for watching. If you stuck around till now, dude, you're freaking amazing, man. Thank you. And until next time, you be safe.